Imagine yourself boarding what was considered the largest and one of the most luxurious ships ever built. Thousands of people believed that it was one of the safest ships in the world. But just 4 days into its first voyage, it struck an iceberg and sank, becoming one of the deadliest maritime disasters in history. Today I'm going to be talking about the RMS Titanic. I'll explain what made the ship unique, why it sank, and how the disaster changed maritime safety around the world. I have done extensive research using Britannica, History.com, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, and the International Maritime Organization. First, let's look at the Titanic itself. The RMS Titanic was built in 1912 by the shipbuilding company Harland and Wolff in Belfast, Ireland. According to Encyclopedia Britannica, it was the largest passenger ship in the world when it entered service. The ship measured about 882 feet long, which is nearly the length of 3 football fields. It was owned by the White Star Line and designed to travel from England to New York City. On its maiden voyage, there were approximately 2,200 passengers and crew on board. The Titanic featured luxury accommodations, dining rooms, a swimming pool, a gymnasium, and many other modern features that were very uncommon at the time. Despite its advanced design and watertight compartments, because of its advanced design and watertight compartments, many people believe the ship was practically unsinkable. However, despite this impressive design, the Titanic's first voyage would become its last. The Titanic departed Southampton on April 10, 1912, and stopped briefly in France and Ireland before heading across the Atlantic towards New York City. According to History.com, on the night of April 14th at approximately 11:40 p.m., the Titanic struck an iceberg. This iceberg damaged several sections of the ship's hull, allowing water to enter multiple of the watertight compartments. Although the ship was designed to survive damage to some of the compartments, too many became flooded. Just 2 hours and 40 minutes later, at approximately 2:20 a.m. on April 15th, the Titanic completely sank beneath the Atlantic Ocean. More than 1,500 passengers and crew lost their lives, making it one of the deadliest maritime disasters in history. So, what caused a modern ship to sink so quickly? Although the iceberg was the immediate cause of the disaster, many historians agree there were several factors that contributed to the sinking. First, the collision with the iceberg damaged the hull, allowing water to flood several of the compartments. The ship allowed any 2 adjacent or the first forward compartments to be flooded, and the ship would still be able to float. However, 5 of the compartments flooded. Second, there were not enough lifeboats for everyone on board. At the time, safety regulations did not require ships to carry enough lifeboats for all passengers and crew. The Titanic was also traveling at a relatively high speed, despite reports of ice in the area. Another factor was a delayed evacuation. Many passengers believed that the ship was safe and would not sink, so many of the lifeboats left before they were completely full. According to the NOAA, communication also played a role. Although the distress signals were sent, any of the ships that heard it were either too far away or did not respond quickly enough. Although the disaster resulted in a tremendous loss of life, it also led to important changes in maritime safety. Following the sinking of Titanic, many international safety regulations were changed. Before 1912, ships were not required to carry enough lifeboats for everyone on board. After the disaster, new regulations required sufficient lifeboats for all passengers and crew. Continuous 24-hour radio monitoring also became mandatory so emergency messages would not be missed again. The International Ice Patrol was also established to monitor icebergs in the North Atlantic and to help ships avoid those dangerous areas. According to the International Maritime Organization, the disaster also contributed to the creation of the SOLAS Convention, which stands for the safety of life at sea. Many of the safety standards established through the SOLAS Convention continue to influence passenger ships today. Finally, according to the NOAA, the wreck of the Titanic was discovered in 1985 by oceanographer Dr. Robert Ballard, allowing researchers to study the ship and learn more about what truly happened. In conclusion, the Titanic was one of the most advanced passenger ships of its time, but a combination of design limitations, human decisions, and environmental conditions led to its sinking. Today we looked at the ship itself, the events of its final voyage, and the lasting impact the disaster had on maritime safety. More than 100 years later, the story of the Titanic continues to be remembered, not only because of the tragedy itself, but because of the lessons learned, which helped to improve passenger ship safety around the world. Thank you, and here's my works cited.